Welcome to my series of school book short stories. I'm sure that many of you have stored away your old exercise books from school. I recently unearthed my English book from 1967 and reminded myself of some of the essays which were produced for class. I thought it would be fun to share these with you, so sit back and enjoy. Today's story is Stampede. The notes of the harmonica came whistling out, forming a tune of Clementine. An accompaniment from a guitar and violin comes smoothly through the air. The song finishes and there is a sound of clutter as the men start moving towards their sleeping kit. After a few minutes, silence rooms the camp. There was just the occasional sound of snoring and burping. The cattle are resting, watched over by two rovers taking 6-hour shifts. Cattle droving is a long and tiring business, but it is mostly rewarding in the long run. It's only if the cattle are lost or destroyed that it is hard for the owners. Cattle do lose weight while travelling. This does lower the market price, but droving is the only way to move the cattle from A to B. The sunrise is at 5 o'clock in the morning. The drovers awaken, wash and saddle their horses for another day's ride. Getting closer to their destination, the day is hot, and the men and horses are becoming thirsty and are yearning for a rest and a drink. However, they are now entering Indian country. All eyes are on alert, looking for the slightest sign of warlike behaviour. The Indians are never peaceful for more than a year. Passing through with no signs of hostile behaviour, the night falls again and a game of cards starts with a little light entertainment. The night drags peacefully on. The men sleep except for those on watch. Mick Jones, a boy of 20, is one of those. Half asleep, he stands on the tree stump watching the night, when suddenly everything goes dark. Someone has struck him on the back of the head, rendering him unconscious. The villains are rustlers, intending to drive the cattle into the Yon Valley. This can only be done by stampeding the cattle. There are about 20 rustlers who are going to stampede over 1,000 head of cattle into the Yon Valley and through the drovers' camp. First, the drovers' horses are let loose, and then gunshots echo through the valley. The cattle panic and run. The men in the camp are quickly awakened by the gunshots. They jump to their feet and run towards the herd, only to find that the cattle are charging at them. There is nothing they can do except run and find cover before the cattle hit them. The only near place for cover is the cook's wagon. This is their destination, if they can beat the herd. They reach the wagon as the cattle rumble over it. Cries of agony ring through the air as the drovers are crushed to death by the stampeding cattle. The wagon is torn to bits, sending utensils flying through the air. Bodies are thrown over the ground under the stampeding herd. Agonizing death results. Massacre takes place over greed. 30 men had no chance against 1,000 frightened cattle. When day breaks, the cattle have run themselves into the valley. The drovers' campsite looks as though it's been hit by a tornado. Crushed and bloody men lay strewn across the site, a horrible sight for anyone to see. There is only one drover left, Mick Jones. He'd been unconscious all through the stampede. When he recovered consciousness, he went to the campsite, and on seeing it, he breaks down into tears, horrified at the sight. He takes his gun from his holster, thinking that it was all his fault. He points it to his head and pulls the trigger. A bullet pierces his skull, passes through his head. There are only a few minutes of agony. Blood surges through the wound and the body convulses and slumps to the ground. Every drover out there is now dead. Their bodies lie there for the buzzards to eat. Meanwhile, the rustlers are gorging themselves using their bloody money. Thank you for watching. Please join me for another episode and another story from a collection of school book short stories by David Cooper. And if you have any stories of your own that are gathering dust in those old school books, why not consider sharing them with us?